I've often thought that critical thinking is disappearing from our day-to-day lives. The people are more willing to accept than to inquire, and that technology is creating new shortcomings for us. To understand this effect, we must look towards the cause, because I don't think we lost critical thinking. I think we traded it. Trading is nothing new to humanity. Most commonly, we trade our time for money, and in turn that money for goods. We've also traded manual investigation for search engines. Where we used to personally dig, investigate, and inquire, we now query a search engine to do it for us. We've begun to trade good old-fashioned effort for speed and convenience, and initially, it felt like progress. After all, why go through the headache of inquiry, analyzing, and memorization when all the answers are in our pocket? I'm not questioning the effectiveness of the tools at our disposal. They are clearly effective. The question at hand is, what is happening to our minds as a result of lessening the amount of deep thinking we do? Convenience is addictive because it feels efficient, because a single question can now be answered by typing it out and hitting enter. But we lose something in doing that: comprehension. When you look something up by hitting enter, you get a plethora of information, but you lose the opportunity to challenge your mind to build a thorough understanding. That mental challenge is critical to creating depth. Struggling to comprehend something forces you to challenge assumptions, notice informational gaps, form connections, and develop sound judgment. This convenience omits that challenge, and it is silently removing the growth that comes from that friction. It's not that we know less, it's that our understanding is becoming shallow. Task delegation is nothing new, and we have always used tools for the sake of efficiency. The problem arises when delegation is transformed into dependency, when we no longer seek to understand something, but instead seek to retrieve it. Outsourcing a thought process feels like progress until you need it back. When there is no direct answer, a solution is not searchable, the algorithm doesn't agree, or the situation is subjective or ambiguous, that's when dependency breaks through and reveals itself. Tools are meant to help us, but over-reliance on them does the exact opposite. We are all about speed in this digital era. Fast reactions, opinions, and conclusions are misconstrued as intelligence. But to critically think requires us to slow down. When we slow down, we can begin to evaluate with entirety, creating the opportunity for us to remain objective, become familiar with that uncertainty, and admit that we may not know everything at this exact moment. In this fast-paced era, a lack of speed is often misinterpreted for incompetence, triggering us to adapt. Not through thoughtfulness, however, but through speed. That's not intelligence. That's shallow work that inhibits one's ability to create true depth and comprehension. This isn't about battling technology. It's about noticing what we're giving up for what we're getting, oftentimes without even recognizing it. We don't lose critical thinking because of an inability. We lose it when our expectations shift to focus more on speed than depth. Just like muscles degrade over time when they are not being used, the thoughtful mind is no different. Here's the good news. What has been given up to convenience can always be reclaimed, but only if you do so intentionally, by slowing down when there's a faster way, by being thoughtful instead of pressing enter, by inquiring one step further than what you might feel necessary. Critical thinking will never go out of style, but now it requires effort and attention that it never used to. And because of that, the responsibility is shifted from the world back to the individual. In the next episode, we'll examine the difference between knowing something and being told something, and what that could imply for our intellectual independence. Until then, ask yourself, what am I thinking, and what am I letting think for me?